Because my Belgian Shepherd requires a lot of energy, he's a high energy dog, I, I generally exercise him 2 to 3 hours a day. So during the week, part of that regime is taking him to dog park where he can herd other dogs and run around with other dogs and generally socialise and get burn some of that energy that he's built up overnight. So generally I find dog parks are good, but there are I've had some terrible experiences with dog parks, and I'm going to share those now. So one thing I've noticed since I take Jack to the dog park for his morning exercise a couple of days a week is the amount of snowflakes who treat their dog like their children, and basically they're extremely critical of anything you do or do with your dog. So point in case, the lady in the distance has a German Shepherd, and Jack, when he sees a new dog coming, he likes to crowd the dog at the gate. So I usually generally go over and restrain him for a few seconds. So he can get a bit pushy. So new dog comes in, he might nuzzle it a bit, and then after 10 seconds it's all over and you'll go back to what he was doing before. But some people just can't take that type of dog behavior, and they, I guess it bruises their egos that their dog is getting pushed around or something. So from then on in, this person with a large dog is now taking their large dog to the small dog park. I know, what do you think? Do you think that dog's going to actually get any better being unsocialized all the time? I don't think so. There was another dog park that was the same. It had some crazy old lady with a Kelpie, and she was just obsessed about throwing the ball with the dog. She didn't want any other dog to go near her dog, and even one time she told me to stay out until she was finished playing. Not because Jack is aggressive or anything, it's just that when Jack chases her dog chasing the ball, it unsettles their dog a little bit, so he loses focus on the chasing part. Luckily, most people don't think this way. Most people know that the dogs sort of have a level of excitement when they first see each other, and then it's all over in 10 or 20 seconds. Some people just can't take that. I had one woman about a month ago. Jack went to the gate and she was bringing in a big staffy, and she didn't like that Jack was standing there, so she then lifted him up by his harness and tried to throw him to the side. And then Jack attempted to bite her, and then she come crying to me like, your dog is attacking me. Like, well, what do you expect? You're lifting up a dog you don't know by the harness and trying to throw it away. I would attack you too, moron. So these are type of morons. Another thing is, yesterday I was taking Jack to the dog park, and I noticed there's a bit of yelling going on, and a woman was taking her cattle dog out of the park, and then she told me later that her cattle dog had a big cut on its leg because these two people brought short-haired pointers into the park, and one of them bit the dog, so she had to take the dog out of the park. So get this. So when I came into the park, I didn't know at that stage what happened. So they come up to me with their dog pointers on the leash and said, "Is your dog okay with other dogs?" And I said, "Yes, he's fine, but he doesn't take no shit from other dogs if they try and jump on him or something like that." And straight away they walked away. And then they sort of apologised because we just got our dogs shipped to us by a plane and we just brought them to the park. So I was thinking, what the fuck? You just bought a dog who's been on a long stressful journey on a plane and you want to take her straight to the dog park without you having any sort of a bond or relationship with the dog whatsoever, probably no recall at all. And the dog's probably already stressed and suffering from the after effects of some sort of a drug to keep him calm. And like, can you see what's wrong with this picture? I mean, that's just a recipe for a dog bite. No wonder the dogs bit the other dog. I had another guy threaten to kick Jack if he was hurting the dog that he was throwing the ball with. So he threatened to kick Jack if he kept chasing his dog. So needless to say, I went off my brain a little bit about that, and I got quite agitated and angry. So these are the things you got to deal with when you come to a public area like this. Some people are quite irresponsible, don't do any research or fact finding about their dogs whatsoever, so they're just clueless. Looks like someone wants to go home already, not sure why. I remember another lady came in once with, she had 4 cavoodles. So Jack wasn't bothering them at all, but there were some other people with cavoodles in the park and they were, you know, like just being rough, playful, you know, not aggressive, just sort of bit of jumping, bit of pushing, a bit of bothering them while they're trying to go bathroom. And this woman took exception to that and she was picking up the other people's labradoodles and throwing them away, you know, to get them away from her dog. And then she left the dog park in a huff. And it was, you know, everyone was just staring at her like, are you insane, lady? So when I bought Jack, the breeder did tell me, your dog will not like every dog, just like people. And I didn't believe it at first because Jack got on really good with every dog he ever met, and now after I've had him for a year and a half, I have found there are a few dogs that he just can't stand. So it's only one dog, and that's a big Groodle, so a much bigger dog than him, and the minute he sees it, he just can't stand this dog. So there's a bit of history with that. Where I used to wait for my wife in the afternoon to pick her up from the train station, I would sit on a bench with Jack, you know, just getting some fresh air and just waiting. And this big Groodle, like the owner would be having takeaway a couple of times a week, and the takeaway was just opposite the bench that I was sitting on waiting for my wife. So this Groodle would be standing there and bark and bark and bark and bark, and this went on for months. And one thing I've learned about Jack is he hates barking dogs. It tends to trigger him a bit. So one day the owner decided to bring this Groodle close to Jack to introduce him, and Jack gave him such a huge correction, it scared the shit out of the other dog. I mean, he really charged him, like, and to me it looked like a correction like, will you shut up barking at me? So ever since then, the Groodle never barked at him again, so I guess it worked. But some months later, the owner brought this dog into the dog park, and did Jack have an issue with this dog? Straight away after him. So I had to grab him and take him out the dog park straight away. So that leads me to my other point. A lot of people come here, they treat the dog park as a child minding centre. So they come here, they throw their dog in the dog park and they switch off and get on their phones and do their thing. That's not very responsible, and I can't do that with Jack. I need to watch him all the time, make sure he doesn't get into trouble or try and hurt children or things like that. And don't necessarily think it's big dogs that cause problems. I had a friend who had a Labradoodle, and they come to the dog park one day with a great big scar on his leg. And apparently they got it, their dog got into a dog fight. And the dog that attacked them was a Cocker Spaniel, of all things. You know, who would have thought that would have made and it was a big cut on his leg. It's probably 6 inches long. Well, that's enough today. Just be wary of the dog park. It's not the perfect environment like you think it is.